Good morning. Good morning, everyone. As y'all should say, the Queen of Fisher Crying Again podcast. And this is March. And this is our series. We'll be covering Rahab this month. So, Rahab, just to get started, is a very interesting woman in the Bible who played a very significant role in who we are and where we are today for those who are believers in faith in Jesus Christ. So Rahab is very interesting because her profession, what she did for a living, she lived in Jericho. She lived right up beside the Jericho wall. And if any of you are familiar with the story of the Jericho wall falling down, it has, something to do, is very significant to Rahab as well. Um, so Rahab was a prostitute. Rahab sold her body for a living. And so some may say she was probably the most unlikely person that God would be able to use, but that is so far from the truth. And so this first snippet about Rahab, Joshua sent two spies into Jericho because he was looking to conquer Jericho. So he sent two spies in, and when he sent those two spies in, the king of Jericho found out that there was two spies in his camp. And so he sent his guardsmen out to find out where these spies were. And so Rahab, the prostitute, the one whose apartment was perched up against the wall of the city, hid them in her home. She risked her life. She trusted in a God that she knew nothing about, but she had just heard about how powerful he was and how magnificent he was and the things that he'd done and how he, you know, just so much. And so she took a leap of faith and she hid those spies. And when those spies were safe and they were able to go back to Joshua and say, hey, we've surveyed the land, this is what's going on. And this woman, this prostitute, the one that some may look down upon, the one that some may say isn't worthy to be a messenger, isn't worthy to be a partaker in the kingdom. God used her to be part of his strategic plan. And because she trusted in a God that she never had experienced, but just heard of, come on, somebody, she just heard about him. She risked it all. She risked it all to help these two spies. And when they returned, Rahab and her family was saved. And if you don't know, Rahab later went on to have Boaz. And the King David came from her bloodline. The most unlikely candidate to some. God used her mightily. So I say all that to say this. Good morning from the beach. I say all that to say this month with us dissecting Rahab is going to be very interesting because so many times we think that we know who is worthy. We feel like, you know, maybe she wasn't the best person for the job, but I beg to differ that we all have purpose and we all have assignment. And sometimes life be lifing. Sometimes we may have taken a road or a path that we're not proud of, but it doesn't stop God's plan for our life. We talked about Sarah last month and how Sarah laughed when God said that he was going to give her a child in her old age. Sarah's laughter did not stop the plans of God. And Rahab's profession as a prostitute, as a woman of the night, of the street, whatever you want to call it, it did not stop what God had planned for her to do. So I love you, and I look forward to dissecting the whole story of Rahab so that we can see just how magnificent and awesome the God that we serve, that he has no respectable person. And what he does, and what he does for me and you, he'll do for anyone who's willing to listen and obey his instructions and his guidance. I absolutely am excited. I will see you soon. Bye. Ta-da!